And this was her when we found her.
She was stabbed 17 times.
Julia Sue Wilbanks was killed back in 1991.
Now, 33 years later, they found her killer using DNA evidence.
Your blood was on her.
The percentage is 1.6 trillion to 1. There's not even a trillion people in the world.
Meet 72-year-old Jean Stuller, currently realizing he has become the prime suspect in the mysterious death of Julia Wilbanks. Because exactly 34 years ago, Julia's murder had led officers to dead end after dead end, all until now.
Your blood ended up on a murder victim's shorts, and you can't provide any explanation of why.
And they must make sure that they try to get to the bottom of this 3-decade-long mystery, because the only one who can help do that is this evil grandpa.
People are gonna look at this and either picture you and create you as a monster or somebody that just made a mistake. Which way do you want to be perceived?
You didn't steal a bicycle. Somebody's life was stolen. Can't get any worse than that.
On September 23, 1991, a police officer in St. Cloud, Florida was driving down Neptune Road when a group of stopped motorists flagged him down. They had just come across the body of 27-year-old Julia Wilbanks, and her death was immediately ruled a homicide. An autopsy determined she'd been stabbed approximately 17 times, including fatal wounds to her heart, and that she'd been left at the location for at least 24 hours before being found. Despite collecting physical evidence from the scene, the case went cold for over 30 years. But then, DNA found on Julia's clothing was uploaded to national and public databases. And after using advanced testing and genetic genealogy, investigators found a potential match: Jean Stuller, a 72-year-old man living just outside Orlando, Florida. Detectives conducted a surveillance operation, reportedly collecting a discarded drinking straw which allegedly matched DNA recovered from the scene. A warrant was obtained for Jean's arrest, and he was soon taken into custody, where detectives had some very serious questions about Julia's murder that they thought only he had the answers to.
Well, in 1991, a female by the name of Julia Wilbanks, okay, she was found in St. Cloud, close here. She was deceased, okay? Does she look familiar at all to you? She is from Kissimmee and was in Kissimmee area.
No, sir.
No. You can take a closer look at it if you want. Yeah, you can look at it.
I don't believe that it's not somebody I ever dated or anything. No, I don't. Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell at all. Okay. She's from Kissimmee around the same time that you were, that you lived there as well. Okay. And she did work and stuff like that. Did you, in that time frame, did you have any relationships with maybe at all?
No.
Nothing you did that, any drugs or anything like that, or drug
I
history?
was going to NA back then.
Okay, what for?
And, sir?
Well, I'm sorry, continue.
And drinking. And then 4 years ago, the 13th of next month, I'll have 4 years sober. I damn near lost my wife. I didn't realize how much she was drinking. She had an operation, quit drinking for 2 days, and went into DT's in the middle of the night. I got the ambulance there. And when she got out of the hospital and she had to go to the nursing home for a while, we both joined AA. And so where I was headed today, to the grocery store and to an AA meeting when I got picked up.
Okay. What was you drink alcohol? What was your drink of choice?
Budweiser and Crown Royal.
Crown Royal.
So you never did any narcotics or anything? Listen.
Back in the day in Orlando, we lived out by SeaWorld off of Orangewood Boulevard. We did some, my brother and I and another fellow that's deceased now.
Now, like the detective here says, we're looking into this case from 1991, which is a long, long time ago. All right? And your name popped up.
Any idea as to why your name would come up?
Not unless maybe she went to NA or something.
Okay, did you went to NA back then too?
Yeah. It was there was a treatment center off of OBT and want to say Oak Street was an AA clubhouse.
It's possible, yeah.
That would make sense.
But she doesn't sound familiar in the newspapers or anything like that? Okay, and she was found deceased here locally as well.
Trying to figure out how the hell my name popped up.
Well, we'll let you know. And we've been detective, I've been working this case for a long time. Okay, things in law enforcement takes time. It's not like on TV. You get an hour show. 20 minutes of that is commercials. Okay, as you know. So these cases do take a long time. Some of these cases are expensive. You know, especially when you're trying to get, you know what DNA is?
Yes.
Okay, that's very expensive. Very, very expensive. And so it's not like we call up and say, run this DNA. That's not how that works. We need to get permission all the way up. Probably definitely goes to the chief. Maybe even goes beyond him because that's how expensive it is. Right, so these cases do take a long time, but your name did pop up in the investigation.
And it takes a while. This type of science behind it, it's extravagant.
Right.
It took a long time for things to be able to be developed, to be able to analyze things as well as they do now. Because in 1991, obviously technology is not like it is today. Smartphones and things like that, you can find out things like that. I'm sure that you're aware of that. And like Corporal was saying, it takes time for us to get the right DNA and to analyze it, okay? And like I mentioned, she was found deceased, and your name came up in the investigation, okay? And it was all connected through DNA. Blood DNA.
And, you know, we're not here to lie to you. Okay? Our job here is to find out the truth, what happened. Because this lady here, I don't know her, the detective doesn't know her, but she has a family. And no matter what we do here, she's not gonna come back. Okay? But at least we can give the family some peace of mind. I'm not sure how much peace of mind. It depends on who the person is. I've never been to a situation where a loved one of mine was found the way she was found. So I can't tell you, I can't tell them, I know how you feel. Because I don't know how you feel. Our job here is to find out what really happened, why it happened. That's important. The families want to know why. They already know what happened. For 30 years, they don't know why it happened.
Her son was 8 years old when this happened and has grown up the rest of his life now knowing what happened to his mom, but not knowing why. Why did it happen? And he grew up from 8 years, he's in his 40s now, with his own family, and he has no closure as to what happened to his mom. And that's what we're here trying to figure out. We want to know what happened to her.
Detectives get right to the point. They have Jean's DNA from blood found on his victim's clothes, and it's a perfect match. But even though he's been confronted with this inconvenient truth and told about his victim's grown son, he claims to have nothing to give them, because in Jean's telling, the years he could have allegedly committed the crime were spent in a drug and alcohol haze, and any memories he could have are long lost to time.
Can you tell us what happened to her?
I'm sorry, I can't.
So why would, like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I want you to be honest with us. Okay, there's only 3 of us in this room. Okay? you can say you don't know what happened to her, right? But we know certain things that we know you were there. We wouldn't be talking to you if you weren't there. We can prove you were there. We can prove that scientifically you were there. Right? So it's not like we just took your name out of a hat and said, okay, let's go talk to this guy. That's not how, because then we're just wasting our time. We know you were there. We can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that you were there. So we just want to know what happened, why this happened. You know, you don't look like a bad person. We have interviewed some killers. You're not one of them. So we want to give you the opportunity of telling us why this happened so we can tell the families.
I don't have any answers for you.
Jean, I don't believe that. Okay, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about this. I know there's a side of the story. Okay, I know you have a side of the story. Everybody has one. Like he's saying, there's a reason why we're here talking to you today. Okay, your blood was on her.
That cannot change. The percentage is 1.6 trillion to 1. There's not even a trillion people in the world. That we cannot get away from. That you can't get away from. Right? So, I know it was a long time ago. Things happen. All right? But, like I said, we know you were there because your blood was there. The blood is better than the fingerprint. Much better than the fingerprint.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't know anything.
You're saying you don't remember anything, or you don't know what we're talking about.
I'm from what you're telling me, but no, I don't know her. I know nothing about this.
This isn't just gonna go away.
Okay?
We're gonna have to, we're here, like I said before, to find out the truth, to hear your side of the story. Because there is, like, life is a coin. It's two sides. We just don't take one side of the coin, because that's not fair. We look at both sides of the coin. Right? So it may look like, oh, these two guys here, they're looking to hem me up. No, we're not. We don't have that power. We don't. Our job is to find out the truth, but the main thing is why this happened. Because there's a why for everything. Just like when you were drinking, there's a why you were drinking so heavily. There is. You may tell people, well, I don't know why I was drinking so much.
I know why.
But bingo, you know why you were drinking. There's a why for everything. The kid steals a cookie from the cookie jar. He knows why. He may not tell his parents, but there's a why for everything.
I do not have an answer for you. I do not know, and that's not going to change.
You have no reason why, or you don't know why your blood would be on her.
Makes sense.
Got a couple pictures if you want to look at them, okay? This is Julia, okay? And this was her when we found her, okay? She's got a lot of blood on her, okay? And this is her. This is where she was. This is her right there. We're not lying about the blood.
Mm-mm. She was stabbed 17 times. That's a lot. Usually they say cases like this is someone that knows her because it's had a lot to do with feelings. Somebody wronged me, you know. You see one or two, maybe could be a stranger. When you start seeing 17, 20, 30, it's usually the victim and the suspect. There's a connection somewhere. Whether their connection romantically, business-wise, but there is a connection because that's personal. Personal. A guy who's gonna do something is not gonna wait around to do 17 stab wounds. You may get caught. He may get away with one or two, and because his main thing is, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. We also know for a fact this possibly didn't happen over where she was found. It was somewhere else. Because there was, as you can see in the picture here, there is nothing there. Side of the road like she was dumped.
I believe I would have remembered if I'd have done that. That's not something you're gonna forget.
So,
I don't think you forgot.
I don't think so either. This, I think, has been haunting you. Well, let me put it this way. I know it would haunt me. It would definitely, because for me, like the detective here said earlier, you don't look like a full-blown killer. What I think you look like is a person that made a mistake. Big difference. Huge difference. We all make mistakes in life. Growing up, some are little, some are big. Right? And that's what I get from you. That's a vibe. I don't know you, but that's the vibe I get. This is a gentleman that made a mistake and has been living with this mistake for 30 something. That's a long time. A very, very long time. You didn't continue to make a mistake. You cleaned up your life from drugs, alcohol. You were married a good woman. You worked hard. You're in your, how old are you now, 76?
I'll be 73 this week.
Right. Right. So you made amends. So that's why I said you look to me like a person that made a mistake. Because we checked you out. Except for, you're right, except for the maybe some tickets with law enforcement. You have no law enforcement connection. None. People who are hardcore.
That's DUIs.
Well,
Yeah.
it happens.
Well, back then,
Right. But you're not getting arrested for beating up your spouse. You're not getting arrested for robbing stores.
violent history.
You don't have any valid history. None. Because before you came here, we did our history on you. Okay? So we know a little bit about who we're dealing with. And I've been doing this a long time. I've interviewed hardcore killers that when they are talking about what they did, I can see their eyes, they are enjoying it. It's like a movie with it. They tell, and to me, you're definitely not that person.
The detectives do everything they can to convince Jean to come clean, even using terms from his 12-step recovery program to get him to confess. But even though he paints himself as a changed man, and neighbors describe him as nice, jolly, and quiet, detectives suspect otherwise. So despite their emotional appeals, and the hard evidence they've laid out in front of him, he simply won't budge. So after a break in the interview, they'll return with a fresh tactic, scaring the crap out of him with hard scientific evidence.
So, your blood was on her, okay? I want you to fully understand the gravity of that, right? Your blood was found on her while she was just like this, okay? And it's taken 33 years for us to get to that point, to identify whose blood that was, and that it is yours, your blood, okay? And up until this point, it's taken till right now for us to be able to charge somebody in this, okay? And this case has been presented to a judge, and a judge has deemed that it's enough for an arrest, okay? You understand that?
I hear you, yes, sir.
You understand the gravity of that?
Yeah.
And like we've said, we're here to find out why and what happened. It's been 33 years. We have no idea what actually happened to her and what caused this. Okay, we know the reason and the cause of her death, but we don't know what happened beyond that. There's only one person that does.
I noticed you've been looking at the pictures, and they're pretty bad.
Yeah, I try not to look at it when I walk around, but I look at it, it catches my eye.
And of course. I can show exactly where on this photo where your blood was located. It's right there on the right side of her shorts. Okay? We have those shorts with us. We've analyzed them, and it's been tested for the last 33 years. And it took us till right now to identify whose blood that is. And it's not just, it's a mixture of yours, hers, and yours separately on her, okay? It's taken us this long to identify that blood. And then we have your DNA and collected it and compared it, and it was a match. 1.6 trillion. Gene, there's an explanation there. Just by you talking to us for the last hour, we know you're not a bad guy. And we know you've had some anger problems. Everybody has anger problems, right? We know you've battled and struggled with that, and you've been working on that. Was this just something that you made the mistake, you couldn't control yourself?
I didn't do it, I didn't know her. I can't tell you what I don't know.
Then how you explain your blood on it?
I can't.
You see where the problem is?
I understand you keep telling me my blood's there. I don't know how.
All right? Nobody's gonna believe you. They're gonna say, well, there is only certain ways for your blood to get on her. There is contact somehow between you and her. That's the only way it gets there. I've been racking my brain to say, how could this gentleman's blood be on her? And it boils down to one thing all the time. There was contact between the both of them. What that contact is, you have to fill that in. I can't fill it in for you. Because your blood just doesn't go out of you and get onto somebody. Right? Tells me you got hurt, you got injured, and you bled. That's the only way blood gets on somebody.
I didn't have anything to do with anything.
Okay. Then who had it?
Sir,
Then who had that? If you didn't have nothing to do with anything, then who had something to do with it?
I know nothing about it. I didn't hurt her. I don't know who did.
And you're saying you don't know how your blood got on her.
Yes, sir, I'm saying that.
Okay? Nobody's gonna believe you.
Okay,
A jury's not gonna believe you.
okay.
A jury's gonna think, he's saying, or through his attorney, he's gonna say A, B, and C. And they're gonna go, that's not plausible. What do you plan on telling your wife?
What you guys told me,
How do you think she's gonna react?
probably won't believe it. I'm gonna have her call my sponsor, I'm gonna have her call my parents and make different arrangements for tomorrow. I guess I'm not going home. You said the judge says you can arrest me, so I imagine I'm not going home.
People are gonna look at this and either picture you and create you as a monster or somebody that just made a mistake. Which way do you want to be perceived?
I don't know how I'm involved in this. I know you tell me there's blood there that's mine.
Yeah, because it's serious.
Yeah,
And we don't take it lightly. We don't. You didn't steal a bicycle. We don't care about that. Somebody's life was stolen. Can't get any worse than that.
Detectives have done an expert job presenting their case to Jean, but there's one thing they haven't told him: how they got a sample of his DNA. So when he's asked about a particular restaurant he and his wife frequents, he seems to know exactly what they're getting at, and for him, it's nowhere good. Because while he may have thought he was home free, and he'd left his alleged sins in that field long ago, he now realizes that when it comes to murder, there's no statute of limitations.
How often do you and your wife go to Keller Barbecue?
oh, at least a couple times a week.
Okay. Yeah. We've been watching you. And we collected your DNA for comparison for this. And then it was a match with those numbers that I just read to you. Okay? This is how we got here.
And that wasn't cheap. Take it from me, it's not cheap.
So Jean, we know something happened. Okay? It's time to give yourself some closure for this. And we've had this blood sample since this happened. All it took was just technology to catch back up to us.
Yeah.
Because we had this evidence, it has been waiting around for 33 years to be identified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, until just now. It's taken 33 years. And since this year, some months, to be able to identify it and get it tested and get us in the direction of you. And then we start looking into you. Okay, this guy's got no history, nothing, right? A couple DUIs, a drug charge, that's it. And then we do some surveillance on you, and we collect a sample of your DNA. Then we get it tested by the same lab that's tested these shorts and the blood that happened from this incident, and it's a match.
Yeah, it is a partial match.
You said what?
And they didn't say it was a partial match. The amount of match they're talking about, not that many humans ever born.
You heard the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, something happened between the two of you that resulted in your blood ending up on her. And the only person that's going to be able to give us what happened is you.
I can't give it to you.
Okay? Evidence doesn't lie.
Witnesses do. People will lie in court. People will lie to us constantly. All right? DNA doesn't lie. Well, I need to get some water. I'll be back.
I've seen the emotions throughout this whole time by talking to us.
You bet.
Your emotions. I've seen it.
Jean, Sergeant Backer. I've been kind of listening in on the interview. And I just have some questions that I need answered for myself, okay? Because I've read the reports, I've read the genealogy. I kind of understand the science behind it. What I cannot understand and what you have not been able to explain is how your blood is on this woman's shorts. This woman who was found stabbed to death right outside of this building back in 1991. And that's why I'm in here, because I need to figure out how that's possible.
I don't have an answer. I keep saying I don't have an answer.
So we can agree that you lived in Kissimmee in 1991, right?
Probably, yeah.
And I know for a fact that this woman lived in Kissimmee in 1991. You mentioned you had a problem back then.
Yeah.
This woman had a problem back then. You mentioned that you had some interactions with workers back then.
No.
Well, you
believe I
said
said
you got laid in a.
Oh, mousetrap up in Orlando. I
Okay.
dated some of the people that worked there. Well,
Well,
went out with them.
you could technically call it workers then if they
All right.
provided you
Dancers.
services for money.
Okay.
This woman was. I don't know that she worked there. She more, as far as I know, worked the streets. But she also frequented areas like McLaren Circle, which you said you frequented.
No, I said I went once and then was sent back in
Okay.
because I got stopped on the way out.
And you went there with the intent of,
Yes, sir.
and she also used, you said you had an alcohol problem, right? That caused you to have blackouts?
I have blacked out drinking, yes.
And the fact that you cannot explain how your blood ended up on this woman's shorts, you don't think that could be because of your drug and alcohol use? That maybe you had some sort of blackout? Maybe you were with this woman one night?
When I blacked out, I was mostly at home and lived in Orlando, where I live now. There was a 10-year period where I didn't go to meetings, but I was sober because of my wife. Because her first husband was an alcoholic.
Okay, but in 1991 you were not sober.
No, off and on.
In 1991 you were using drugs and alcohol at the same time.
I would imagine then, yes.
You would imagine?
I drank, and I because I was going to NA and AA.
Is there a lot from that time period that you can't remember?
No, I can probably tell you where I worked and what I drove and.
But how about when you weren't at work and when you weren't driving, when you were out enjoying your weekend off or your nights, having some drinks, having some.
I very seldom drank out. It's too expensive to drink out. I drink at home. That's where we were drinking before we got sober, my wife and I, at home.
But you admit that you did drink and you used, and you weren't always working.
Yeah,
So on those nights and weekends where you were not at work and you were drinking and you were using, how was your memory then? Can you remember every one of those nights? Can you remember the finite
probably
details?
not, no.
So is it possible that you met up with this user? Maybe you guys hung out together. Maybe it was just an acquaintance. Maybe she tried to sell you drugs. Maybe she tried to steal your drugs. And maybe something happened. Maybe there was an argument. Maybe there was a fight. Maybe she stabbed you first. But there's got to be a reason. There's got to be an explanation or how your blood ended up on her shorts?
I don't have a clue. The girl does not ring a bell. I'm sure I would remember that crap.
You didn't say a word on the entire drive here.
No. Well, when I first got in the car, I asked the first sheriff what was going on, and he said that a detective would talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me about country music and I think what I did where I worked. I told him when I retired, and I was very uncomfortable with the handcuffs and that. And the last trip here, you guys' cruiser was very tight.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get catty-cornered so that they didn't hurt, but just scared. I didn't know what to say.
And for someone who would have no idea of what's going on, that's typically not the reaction when they get stopped by the police, put in handcuffs, and then driven somewhere.
Okay, why would I think that these guys would be any different than the first one that told me I would find out when I got there, a detective would talk to me? I didn't figure that these guys would be any different.
Even if that's the case, though, once you get here and the detectives lay out a homicide in front of you, lay out a warrant that shows that you're the one being charged with that homicide, lay out DNA evidence that says you were there when she was killed, and your reaction is just contentness. No shock, no awe, no disgust, no anger. All the human emotions that would go with a false allegation aren't there.
I don't know what to tell you. The guy that was sitting there told me I don't act like a stone cold killer, and you tell me I'm not acting right.
I'm not saying you act like a stone cold killer either.
I don't know how I'm supposed to act.
don't
I have
think-
never been in this
I
position.
don't think that when you made contact with this woman that you had the intent to kill her. I think something bad happened. I think she left you without a choice. That's what I think. Because I've looked up your history and I've looked up her history. And she was no angel.
Is it just too difficult to say out loud? Would it be easier to talk about it if I gave you a piece of paper to write what happened?
No, because I don't know what happened. I didn't know this woman.
You didn't have to know her. You just had to have contact with her. Because that's the only way that someone's blood gets on another person. I'm not saying you had a relationship with this woman. I'm not saying she was your friend. For all I know, she walked up to you on the street and tried to rob you one night. I don't know. I'm hoping you'll tell me. I'm hoping you're here to fill in the blanks.
I don't have anything to say. I can't say anything.
Okay.
It's fine. We're gonna go finish up our paperwork. You're gonna end up going to the jail. You'll have a chance to make some phone calls.
Jean's been confronted with a trove of evidence connecting him to Julia's murder. But not only does the blood link him to the scene, he lived in the exact same area that she was found. And his behavior since being arrested has done nothing to change detectives' minds. So now that he's officially being charged with murder, there's someone else detectives want to talk to. Someone who knows him better than anyone. The younger brother he lived with before the alleged murder.
So, okay. Yeah, so obviously, you've known a little bit about this and that this did happen right there late September 1991. By then you're married and you have a child, almost 1 year old now. And you guys were on and off living with each other. I know that he was, in and out of alcohol at the time you guys lived in Orlando. Did anything at that point, Like, what was the split? Was it when you found your wife? Was it
It was when I met my wife, Denise. When I met her, she did not like me. And I will give you a little brief thing on me. Being a young male in the early 80s, and it was everywhere. And being a young male and being heterosexual, if you had, you were getting laid.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was. And it was everywhere. And as you can tell, if you look at Miami and see all those buildings, it was all built.
Did you guys see it on the news at first, or?
My sister Shirley Lynch, she called me because Cindy called her.
Okay.
And I was driving down, coming from Kissimmee, down the I-4 Express. And she says, "Are you driving?" And I went, "Yes."
Yeah, that sounds like something.
And she says, "Listen, Mom and Dad are fine, but call me when you're not driving. I gotta tell you something." I pulled in work into the parking lot, called her, and she says, "Okay, are you sitting down?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sitting in the air conditioning in my van." And she said, "Jean has been arrested." And I went, "What?" And she goes, "For a 1991 murder." And I just, oh my God. I says, "Does Mom and Dad know?" And they went, "No." And I went, "Gee, okay. How's Cindy? What happened?" And she told me, they were going to an AA meeting in Orange County, which I understand, and brought him here.
Yeah.
And I just told her, I says, "We got to get to Mom and Dad before they find out or somebody knocks on their door and they see it on the news." Luckily, Monday is bingo night in their community. And they were at bingo, and we got there. We waited till they came back for bingo and told them.
How much do you know about DNA?
Well, I know a lot about, I watch a lot of detective shows. I'm sitting here now and I'm having 48-hour flashbacks.
Yeah.
I do enjoy watching that, and I believe in DNA.
Yeah.
And I understand it, and I understand the methods that it took this department to get his DNA, and I understand how it happened. And it was probably one of his cousins that did a 23andMe or something like that.
Yeah.
And he comes into that gene pool, his name, and then you investigate.
Yeah.
I understand that. So
And so this was a pretty egregious incident. She's almost mutilated, where something violent really did happen to her. And she had defensive wounds too, which could have been a cause of somehow his blood getting on her. So something happened with his blood to end up on her. And there's some correlation there. I don't exactly know what that correlation is. Do you have any information as to what it could possibly have been?
I have no clue. None. I do not know. I was in a total different world back then. I have no idea how it could have happened, what happened. My scenarios are knowing what I've read about her background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's no saint.
I know. None of us are.
Exactly.
But, because I did not know it was blood until just now. I didn't know if it was, another form, skin, whatever it was. I had no idea until just now. So that's where my scenarios were going. Seeing, she did walk the streets from time to time. Okay, the shorts, could have been the same shorts for a couple days. I don't know.
Bring back. So I have some crime scene photos. Okay, and like you said, you're anticipating us kind of talking to you, and you kind of understand how this goes. And I really want to kind of paint the picture as to what happened. So this is her. She was actually laying found 500 feet west of where this police department is right now.
Of course, the police department wasn't here back then. It was all kind of just field work.
Yeah, this was country.
Yep. But her body was just dumped there without a care in the world.
Is that how she was found face down? Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So like I said, it was a struggle, right? She
Tried her
fought
hardest
back,
to survive.
and it was a pretty egregious incident. She was stabbed approximately 17 times. And she's got a gash on her neck and on her mouth as well. And his blood's found on her shorts in multiple locations. And just by this right here, you can tell you're not gonna get that wound without.
Oh, I'm good. You can take these away.
Okay.
I have a weak stomach.
But like you said, she's trying to fight back, she's trying to survive, people don't wanna die. Clearly, there's gonna be defensive wounds, right? And it would make sense that, someone trying to stab someone 17 times, you might nick yourself or re-injure yourself at some point. Blood's mixed with blood. We just want to know why, but we can't get that answer for some reason.
I wish I don't have the answer. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not have the answer. But if I did, I don't know if I could do it. But I don't have the answer. But this is something that I am totally disgusted by.
We all are.
As you can tell, I don't want to look at them. But I mean, I can't even look at surgery on television or anything like that. But this is horrible, and I'm so sorry that this happened to this girl. But I do not know. I do not know anything about this incident. I have never been spoken to by him about anything like this. So I don't even remember it in the news.
It's in the newspaper, yeah. If you didn't live local, you may not have done something. Yeah. I know you're in Orlando at that time.
While detectives likely don't believe Jean's brother was involved in Julia's murder, they must still rule out the possibility. So as the interview takes a different direction, he suddenly finds himself the subject of suspicion, and it's a role he's clearly very uncomfortable with, because it's clear these two brothers took a very different path in life, and for Jean, it ended in disaster.
I mean, you know him probably one of the best in the world that know him actually. Again, he was telling us that, there was times he would black out, not remember what happened, but, he does remember you being there on days. It's just, the way he makes it sound is like, if everything were to happen as we're saying, what if you were there that time, So now we have to wonder, what if you were there, right?
I understand, but I can assure you, no.
Because especially she's dumped on the middle of a road, and it's probably a two-person job to.
If I got asked to move a body, you would have seen me in 1991, whether he's my brother or not. No. I think I've already given you an insight of who I am, about weapons and anything like this. No.
So if he had asked you to help him clean the scene, if he asked you to help him kill her, if he had asked you to help move the body,
you would have heard, this department or another department would have heard from me then. If he would have asked.
Well, that's your brother. That's someone you love deeply.
I care about. And I hate to quote a movie, I don't mess with the big M. I do not do this. This is no. Now, right now, do I know that he did it? No. Do I suspect that he did it? There's a possibility. Do I think he has it in him? No, I do not. But evidence is evidence, and I do understand DNA evidence. But how his blood got there, I'm not a judge and jury. I do not know. I'm not here to judge him until it's gone through the system that we have. If it happens, that's on him. But I know nothing about this, nothing. I did not move this, no. I wouldn't be alive today if I had anything to do with this. My wife would have killed me.
That's understandable. Like, what if, you guys accidentally.
I did not do coke in 1991. I have made that clear to you. I stopped when I met my wife. I stopped because I was in love.
No relapses whatsoever?
No.
So it's just cold turkey stopped.
I was done with it. I told you earlier, I really never liked it that much. I was more of a weed guy. I liked smoking weed more than, I did not like speed. And that's what
Yeah.
I did not like speed at all. I am a mellow person. Weed, relax you,
Yes.
you know. No. No, I would never, ever have anything to do with this. And I don't care who it was, no.
Thankfully for Jean's brother, there's no evidence he was connected to Julia Wilbanks' murder. Unfortunately for Jean, it's a different story, because after over 30 years of heartbreak for her family, her alleged killer was booked on charges of second-degree murder and disturbing a dead body or clothing article nearby. The case is currently in the pre-trial phase, but he could face up to life in prison if convicted. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.